I, 35 male, am a small business owner, and my brother, 32, used to work for me. Growing up, we've had our fair share of sibling rivalry, but I never imagined it would escalate to this. Growing up, I played a prank on my brother that he never really got over. When we were kids, I was 12 and he was 9, I hid his favorite action figure in the backyard. It took him days to find it. When he did, it was all dirty and a bit broken. I apologized at the time, but he was really upset and never really let it go. Fast forward to adulthood. I started a small but successful landscaping business. My brother struggled to find steady work a few years ago, so I offered him a job. He accepted, and things were fine at first. He worked hard, and I thought we had moved past our childhood issues. But about a year ago, strange things started happening. Equipment would go missing, clients would cancel unexpectedly, and our finances began to take a hit. I couldn't figure out what was going on. I trusted my team, but someone was clearly sabotaging us from the inside. After months of stress and financial strain, I installed hidden cameras in the office and warehouse. I didn't want to believe it, but I had to find out who was responsible. What I found shocked me to the core. The footage showed my brother tampering with equipment, deleting important client emails, and even forging cancellation notices. After initially denying it, I confronted him, and he broke down and admitted everything. He said he never forgave me for the prank and wanted to get back at me. He knew how much the business meant to me and wanted to see me struggle as payback. I was furious and heartbroken. This was my brother, someone I trusted implicitly. I had no choice but to fire him on the spot. When I told our parents, they were upset but understood my position. However, my brother started telling extended family members and friends a different story, painting me as this tyrannical boss who fired him without cause. Now I'm getting calls and messages from relatives who don't know the whole story, calling me heartless and urging me to reconcile with my brother. He's struggling financially again, and they think I should rehire him out of family loyalty. But I can't bring myself to do it. He betrayed my trust and almost ruined my business. So, am I the idiot for firing my brother and refusing to rehire him despite the pressure from my family? You broke a toy of his when you were kids. He nearly wrecked your livelihood. These things are in entirely different realms. Not the idiot. Your brother needs help. It's not normal for someone to try and ruin another person's life for hiding a darn toy. The fact that he's now lying to your extended family to make you look unreasonable for firing him is further evidence. Just tell them all the truth. You fired his butt for intentionally sabotaging your company over a petty childhood grudge. He did all this over a darn action figure? For him to be still seething over a piece of plastic after 2 decades, something must be wrong with him. His payback was so far beyond OP's original childhood prank, it's bizarre. OP should increase his security at home and work. Getting caught and fired will make the brother even more enraged, even though it's all his own fault. Be very careful, OP. Your brother isn't playing with the full deck. He isn't sorry for this decade-long hatred and vengeance. In fact, he's probably even more outraged than before. I'd be worried that his actions would escalate. Hire a lawyer, file a police report, and get a restraining order against him. Sue him for your losses. Show the videos to all your family and friends. And finally, advise your brother to get treatment for mental illness. He tried to bankrupt you. He's literally spent 23 years obsessed with getting revenge on you and making you pay. I'm so sorry, OP. Don't let them guilt you into hiring him back. Nobody deserves this level of betrayal. Protect yourself. I, 32 female, had a baby girl about a few months ago and am incredibly happy. I've been with my husband since high school, and so I've obviously known his family a long time. To be honest, they've never been my favorite people. Before yesterday, we've never had an outright argument, but I know from my husband that they were disappointed when he moved away from home, which he did because I got a great job opportunity. We're only an 8-hour drive from our hometown, but his parents constantly make comments about how they wish we were closer, and his sister always says she wants her kids to be near her cousins. My husband honestly doesn't care, but it irks me a bit because it feels very controlling. They've also never made a huge effort to get to know me, and his mom seems irritated whenever I speak, or my husband compliments me. I might be sensitive, but they've never embraced or welcomed me. My mother-in-law's from England, and so my husband's family goes there every few years to celebrate Christmas. They went last year, but we couldn't go because I was very pregnant at the time. They decided to go again this year, and my mother-in-law called last night and asked if we'd join. I told her it sounded like fun, but I'm a bit overwhelmed by the prospect of taking my daughter, who will be around a year old at that point, on an 11-hour flight. Additionally, my husband and I both work, so it would be a shortish trip and there would be a quick turnaround time with the flights. I suggested we wait a few years to bring the baby to England when things have settled down a bit at home, and she's hopefully old enough to enjoy it a bit. This deeply upset my mother-in-law because she apparently really wanted her sister, who's lovely, to meet my daughter. She kind of went off and said I've been possessive of the baby since she was born and that it's always about my family. This really confused me since I had her at my house for a week, less than a month after my baby was born, and I'm constantly sending her pictures and videos of the baby. I've also told her she's welcome to visit anytime. The only time when things weren't 100% equal was immediately after my daughter was born, since my mom was there during the delivery and helped me get settled for a few days after I got home from the hospital. My mother-in-law then commented about how I've already taken my husband's name away from the family, and now I'm doing the same thing with my daughter. It's the first time she said it outright, and I totally snapped. I told her we moved across the state, not across the world like she did. She asked what I meant, and I said she was being hypocritical for holding our move against us, when she literally left her family on the other side of the world. I said I didn't judge her for that at all. I actually think it's cool that she took such a big risk, but she shouldn't expect her son's life to revolve around his parents and siblings when she didn't set that example herself. I also told her something that I've kept close to my chest for all these years, which is that I had another job offer, even further away, a 6-hour flight, but I didn't take it in part because I wanted my husband to be closer to his friends and family. I was fuming though, and said something I shouldn't have. Now I wish I had taken that job because of how controlling and overbearing she is. I don't want my life to revolve around people who make no effort to get to know me or include me. My mother-in-law started crying, and I immediately felt bad, but she got off the phone before I could really apologize. I feel horrible because now I've driven a wedge between my husband and his parents. He's 100% on my side and says his mom shouldn't have accused me of taking him away, but I do feel I've let him down. Am I the idiot for being brutally honest with my mother-in-law and for not taking the baby to England? Not the idiot, geez. Your mother-in-law's comments were way out of line and totally unfair, too. She can't be upset that you moved when she literally moved across the globe. I'm glad to know that your husband is on your side. It's also perfectly reasonable for you to prioritize your daughter's well-being and comfort over your mother-in-law's desire to see her. The trip wouldn't be enjoyable for the baby, and she's so young. You and your husband would be really stressed out. Not worth it. Exactly. Mother-in-law's upset because she had a reality check from your completely valid points. What she's forgotten is that the world doesn't revolve around her and what she wants. You didn't steal your husband from the family. Your husband and you are the family. I think I tend toward everyone's the idiot here. I'm sorry, but my Frenchness is showing when you say we're only 8 hours drive away. An 8-hour drive is literally the other side of my country. If you can't make the back and forth trip in a day, or if you can't spend more time at your destination than you're spending in your car for a one-day trip, you are not living close. You could have moved further away, but you're already not close to your hometown, and you need to acknowledge that rather than pretending otherwise. My mother babysat almost all the grandkids 3 times a week in the summer. I am very grateful she does this, as it saves us a ton of money. In total, she watches about 7 kids, and one of those kids is my middle son, Jamie. Jamie is a lot sometimes. He's 8 years old, and compared to his younger sister, he's less behaved. My mother's talked to my wife and me multiple times about him. She's done recommended timeouts. Overall, he doesn't behave much better after them. We've both talked to him about it, but no improvement. This is the issue. My mom is going to take all the kids to the pool with my dad. Jamie would not stop goofing around. He would run around, grab the other kids' pool stuff, and be loud and annoying in general. My mom told him that if he didn't stop, no one would be going to the pool. He didn't stop, and she held true to her word. The rest of the day, all of the kids were mad at him. I picked them both up, and she informed me about what happened. Mom told me he behaved the rest of the day after that. Jamie was very upset about no one liking him. The kids basically ignored him. Even my youngest was angry at him. My mother told me that he needs to learn how his actions affect other people, and I agree with her. I'm 100% fine with her using social dynamics to get him to behave. It also seemed to work. She plans to take the kids to the pool on Friday. I told my wife what happened, and she was angry that my mother did this. We had an argument, and she thinks I'm being a huge jerk for agreeing with my mom. Not the idiot. Your wife is going to raise a brat if she has her way, and her darling child is likely to be even more alone if his behavior isn't corrected. You're not required to side with your wife simply because you're married to her, especially in a private argument. It was brilliant punishment, to be honest, and you can't argue with the results. Peer pressure is a powerful tool. It keeps adults' behavior in check as well, and part of every parent's task is to figure out how to motivate their children. Timeouts might work for some children, but certainly don't work for your son. Now you know what does work. My daughter's been dating this guy for a couple of months. One day, he was going to hang out, watch movies, and have pizza. We ordered extra pizza to ensure we'd have enough for him, and as soon as I got home with it, he walked out without even saying goodbye, which we thought was rude. On another occasion, we invited him to a restaurant to celebrate a special event for my daughter. He ordered food but didn't eat and spent most of the dinner in the bathroom. Finally, we spent the day out with him and stopped for food. We were all famished. I encouraged him to order something, my treat, along with everyone else, and he refused. Then he just sat there awkwardly, watching everyone eat. It made me very uncomfortable because I don't like people watching me eat. I told my daughter that I think he's been rude, but she likes him, and she thinks his behavior is no big deal. A little while later, my daughter informed us that he had an issue eating in front of people. So I say, well, that's fine, but then he doesn't need to hang around at meal times because it makes me uncomfortable eating in front of someone who isn't eating with us. Now my daughter's mad that I'm discriminating against his disability, and I wouldn't treat someone else like that if they had a disability. Am I the idiot for not wanting him around at mealtime? Good luck to that dude, because that sounds like a horrible way to live. I think not the idiot because he ordered the food at the special event. Presumably you paid for it and then didn't eat it. Did he take it home? And not communicating why he's leaving the room is weird. And yeah, I would find it rude too. This is the sort of disability that he should get therapy for until he can eat in front of others comfortably. Like he spent a special evening in the bathroom? Why? If he wasn't eating, then what was the problem? You mentioned that he sits there awkwardly. Does he talk to people? I guess one question would be, how old is this young man? Teens with anxiety and other issues often are awkward. Slight, you are the idiot. To me, it comes across as OP pressuring him to order food. I would hide in the bathroom too, if I was being pushed to do something that made me deeply uncomfortable. I wouldn't hide in the bathroom. I would simply explain that I prefer not to eat in front of others. It's a simple solution. Just tell the truth. Not the idiot. Phobias are not disabilities. They're anxiety disorders. And her boyfriend either needs to get therapy for his discomfort, or as you've suggested, avoid causing you discomfort. My ex-wife, Jen 38, and I, 42 female, were married for 8 years before divorcing during a global issue 4 years ago. We have 2 kids together, a young male teen and a female tween, who we share custody of and co-parent well together. At her suggestion, I got a vasectomy after our daughter was born. I remarried my new wife, Carrie, 34, about a year ago. Carrie doesn't have kids but has always wanted a family. After many discussions before our engagement, I agreed to reverse it and try to start a family with Carrie. I had the reversal procedure done just after our wedding. Carrie and I found out about a month ago that she's pregnant. She's currently about 15 weeks along. We have not told anyone about the pregnancy until recently. I wanted to wait until I had an opportunity to tell my kids in person that they would have a younger sibling. Now that they're done with school, I had that chance this past weekend. Both of my kids were very excited and happy to hear the news. They get along great with Carrie and are excited to have a new baby brother or sister. After I told the kids, they wanted to call their mom and tell her about it too. I was a little apprehensive because I didn't know how Jen would react, so I tried to convince them to let me tell her first, but my son ended up telling her via text before that. A few minutes later, Jen texted me back, basically asking me, WTF I was thinking. I texted her back, saying that I would prefer not to have this conversation over text and asking if she was free for a chat. She said she wasn't and sent a flurry of text asking me a bunch of questions. I again told her I'd prefer to have this conversation in person or on the phone. She finally called me later that night and was not happy. She told me that I should have told her I reversed my vasectomy so that she could talk to our kids about it. I told her that my body and my life with Carrie is not her business, and that neither of our kids even know I had it, let alone know what it is. I've never told them I've had one, so why would I tell them I reversed it? She told me that since this would have a huge impact on our kids' lives, I should have told her about it first. She said that it's her business when it directly impacts our kids. I told her that it's my body and that my health choices are of no concern to her anymore. The conversation started getting heated, and I ended the call before things went too far. Jen has since calmed down and sent a text congratulating Carrie and me, but she still maintains that I should have notified her of my decision to reverse my procedure before things got to a point where Carrie was pregnant. She thinks that she had a right to know since it'll impact our kids. I think she has no right to any information regarding what I decide to do with my body, unless it's life-threatening. My marriage and life with Carrie is not information that my ex-wife has any right to. Not the idiot. I agree with you. Your body, your business. Once the divorce was final, she lost all right to lecture about your choices. As far as the kids go, you're their dad and have as much say in their lives as she does. She doesn't have to like it, but it's really none of her business. I disagree. OP, you're a massive idiot for not telling your vasectomy reversal news to your ex, your kids, me, your boss, your neighbors, the postal delivery utility workers at your home, your third-grade teacher, etc. In fact, I'm appalled you didn't hold a State of the Sausage address on your social media. I mean, would it have been that difficult for you to show some consideration for us? We all signed up for your Scrote Watch alerts. Seriously, she signed divorce papers divorcing you 4 years ago. It doesn't matter how well you two co-parent. She doesn't share news about her irregular cycles with you. You don't share news about your swimmer's recipe with her. A judge said so. Not the idiot. This is between you, your wife, and your doctor. Why in the world would she need to talk to your kids about your fertility status? Ex-wife wanted first dibs so she could prime the children by telling them that daddy's going to start a new family with his new wife, and they won't be the most important people to him anymore, and he won't have time for them as much. So the kids would be upset when they finally heard the news, instead of excited about having a new sibling. The only reason she could have wanted to be the one to tell the kids would be to try to make it a bad thing, to drive a wedge between the kids and her ex.